Hello everyone, this is Mr. Appel. We're going to look at this example. So take a look at the question. We've got two cranes unloading container ships in some amount of time. Here's the idea. We want to find out the rate at which, we want to express the rate at which they are unloading, and then use that to help us figure this out. This one has a little twist to it, which is that crane A started to unload the ship at noon and crane B joined in at 2 p.m. And so the amount of time they spent working together isn't actually the same. So I'm going to show you how we can account for that. So I'm going to let X actually represent, or whatever variable you want, the time spent unloading. So really it's going to be the time that crane A spent unloading. I should have written that. So the time that crane A spent unloading. So first of all, the rate for crane A does one ship every 10 hours. So one ship every 10 hours. And crane B does one every 14 hours. And they're each going to be working for some amount of time. So we take the rate that they're working at, so crane A's rate, and then multiply that by how much time it works. So crane A is going to work for X hours. But now here's the catch. Crane B didn't start until 2 hours after crane A. So crane B is going to work for X minus 2 hours. So when they're working together, that's how we account for those missing 2 hours. So again, X isn't the time, it's the time. It's not the time of day, it's the time that A spent working. You could just as easily have defined X to be the time that B spent working, and then you would have just done X here, and then X plus 2 here. And you'd be defining the variable differently, but it would work out either way. Okay, so now if we add their work together, the total amount of work done should be 1, because we want to know how long it takes them to unload one ship. Okay, so let's clean that up a little bit. The first part is just X over 10. The second part is X minus 2 over 14, and we set that equal to 1. And then we go ahead and solve. We're going to clear out the fractions, multiplying by 14 and by 10 to clear out those two denominators. And then here the 10s cancel, leaving us with 14x. Here the 14s cancel, leaving us with 10x minus 20. Don't forget to distribute that 10. And over here we have 140. So we have 24x minus 20 equals 140. So 24x equals 160. I'm going to move that up a little bit. So x is equal to 160 over 24, which is, what is that? I thought I had that written down here. Sorry, give me a second to grab my calculator. 160 divided by 24, which is 6 2/3. In the calculator, it's 6.6 repeating, which is 6 2/3. So 6 2/3 hours. So remember what X represented. It's the amount of time that crane A spent unloading the ship. So if crane A started at noon and worked for 6 2/3 hours, then what time would it be? Well, 6 2/3 hours, let's convert that into minutes. 2/3 of an hour is 2/3 of 60 minutes, and 2/3 of 60 is 40. So that's 6 hours and 40 minutes. So now let's go back and answer the question. The question is, at what time? At what time? So after 6 hours and 40 minutes, if we started at noon, it would be 6:40 p.m. That's it. Thanks.